Thank you for tuning in to Metro Men of Atlanta. I am Sheldon G. Horton. On today's top topics, we are giving an update on Winnie Stack's Couture Fighting Cancer weekend. Winnie brought Hollywood fashion to Atlanta, but the show is far from over. The Zeus Network stylist held a weekend of fashion events in Atlanta in collaboration with MCM Worldwide and V12 Restaurant. Since the last event, we've received multiple reports that behind the scenes, things were not as fabulous as they seemed. We'd like to welcome TaJayDupree, the assistant of Winnie Stackz for the Couture Fighting Cancer Part 3 weekend, who will share his perspective on the event and weekend. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Appreciate it.
So, Tajay, as you know, we've extended an opportunity both to you and to Winnie um, concerning this weekend. So, with what you've seen, what would you like to address first?
Okay, so first, I appreciate this opportunity. I'm not here to name names as well. I'm not here to disrespect anyone or to downcut anyone. Um, my purpose is just to make sure that it's understood that um, the team did not fail Winnie. Um, to let my answer any questions. I'm down to answer any and all questions,
Copy.
honestly, without any kind of backlash. I don't. It doesn't matter at this point because there's a lot of things that's coming at us that we have to now deal with on our ends.
Oh,
That's not
wow.
being dealt with from winning. So it's at the point to where um, kind of be careful what we have to say because we just want to move accordingly. You know what I mean? But I don't want to throw anybody
Absolutely.
under the bus. I don't want any of my team members to feel uncomfortable while I'm saying. I'm just speaking what I know 100% fact.
Got it.
Um, so the event, I started working on the event probably a month or two before the event even started. So I know and have had a hand in every aspect of the show. Um, there was things that were promised not only to the team but to the designers, to the the hosts, to things that were promised to individuals in general that never happened. There are people that were left behind. There are situations where MCM is unhappy with non-returned items, which actually happened. There's a lot that he stated in his interview with you that was true. I will say that I was not a part of the model interview or model group, so I'm not sure what he told them, but I was privy to him saying that he would fly everybody out, but they would have to find their way home, except for his immediate team. The immediate team we should have had hotel, ground travel, a private chef, um, flights home, flights there and home. I was flying to Detroit with him to work on baddies. Um, that never happened. Like there's a lot of things that he stated the assistants were responsible for MCM. That was not true whatsoever. Not one piece of that was true. Um,
So let's start here because according to him, was there anyone who was he was supposed to see them get back home? Because according to him, he started months earlier trying to get everybody to get tickets, and there were people, of course, he says that who he spoke with that was supposed to be responsible for getting back, even if he helped them to get there.
yes, that was definitely said
Okay,
amongst a group of individuals. Who those individuals are specifically, I do not know.
got it.
I know for sure this guy right here. I pay for my flight there. I pay for my flight home. I pay for my hotel. I pay for my ground travel. I pay for my food. Me. I also assisted in paying for a hotel room for the team because once everybody arrived into Atlanta, everybody was inside of my Airbnb because no one had Airbnbs, including Winnie.
Oh, wow.
I got into an argument with management of my Airbnb because I had over 5 guests, which was the limit for my Airbnb. I was on the verge of being kicked out of my Airbnb, which is why I had to assist them in getting another Airbnb so the team would be stationed.
Wow. So were there a block of rooms that were set out
Yes, so
for
that was the
and so
goal.
what happened with that? So people dropped. Who was there? Someone that was responsible for that? Was this an individual endeavor? Like how were they supposed to accommodate?
So our team consists of a director. We
Hmm.
had a video and photographer. We had a makeup artist. We had 2 producers, and then we had myself. That's the real team. Um, Out of those team members, our producers were one of our producers. She was hands on the sprinter. She was hands on the hotel blockings. She had everything situated, everything handled. 15 rooms blocked out. We were set, but they set those rooms blocked with the expectation of X amount of rooms being booked because it was promoted as this grand event that will have multiple celebrities and the rooms will be filled by models alone, etc. And so when that started to not roll in, the hotels are like, "Hey, we got to get these rooms booked, or else we're gonna have to drop this block." And the night before is when those rooms were blocked and they were dropped. So we then had nowhere to go. So we all knew
Wow.
that at this point, what are we doing? The moment we got to the sprinter lady says that the flyers don't look legit. Winnie doesn't have an Instagram, so she's pulling out. So now we have no ground transportation for anything.
That's weird. Wow. So, because there were reports that there was a bogus, the company who was hosting with the Sprinter, that the wrong logo was put on the flyer. Is that the truth?
The logo wasn't wrong. It was just too small. She wanted her logo bigger.
Got it.
She had a
Got
lot
it.
of
Got it.
demands on her own. She was something completely different. I'm not going to speak about her brand, but her sprinter, her aura, her energy, her attitude towards this event from the jump was already like, eh. We kind of had to almost like beg and plead, just can we please get this for this, and can we please, please, please? And then when she agreed, she wanted us to go above and beyond. Every model had to post her sprinter. Every designer had to post her sprinter. Every one of the team had to post it. If she didn't see the post, then she wasn't the sprinter. That type of thing.
So was this one? So was this Sprinter? So did she do anything? Did she work?
No, no. Well, no. Let me not. Let me not. Okay. Let me not say that. I will say night one, day one, we got there. We sent her an itinerary before we left um, LA so that she'd be aware of Winnie's movements because she was to move with Winnie. Um, So she had expectations to meet us at X time at Winnie's hotel so that Winnie could be loaded and we can head on to MCM and get him fitted for his looks. Um, she sat at the hotel thinking he would be there, but of course the hotel had already removed the block, so he didn't inform them of that. So she sat there for 4 hours waiting for Winnie to pop up, and nothing happened. So at that point, management got on the phone with her. The director himself got on the phone with her. We made her our own separate flyer, but at that point, it was just too much. We couldn't save it. So she was just done with it completely.
Got it. So listen, we're about to play a clip right now, and yeah, we want to get your reaction.
For my own event, I paid to get my butt there. I paid. So like, why did y'all pay? Why are
Mhm.
people texting me the day before my event asking for help? That doesn't help me help you. I try to help everybody. I made sure God is my witness. If you call my phone and you said, I'm going to Atlanta, I took time out to find you cheap rooms. I took time to find out cheap flights. I took time, okay?
Mhm.
And if you play with me, I, y'all know I love y'all down. I love everybody. I'm bubbly. I'm fun. But I have to clear some serious, we have to cut the bullshit. Y'all know I've been preaching about I'm going to just blast it. There's an app that I use. It's called Skip Lagged.
Right. Um, so yeah, so that's what happened to the rooms. The expectation was not met, and as a result of that, they were pulled down.
Correct.
So how many designers, how many models were actually involved in this?
We had a total of 20 designers that were initially involved. We had a casting of 280 models. We actually casted 160.
So where were the, so this was actually held in a club, correct? Because I've never been to a V12 before. So
Correct.
was it a club,
V12
restaurant?
V12 is it's a restaurant with club vibes. So they don't have a dance floor. It's a restaurant with tables, a bar, a VIP area, some lounges, etc., and outside area. It's not a club, but it's a restaurant with club vibes.
Right. So what time did the show start?
It
Because
was
because there's so many disgruntled models. You know, I've seen so many things. I have to be honest. Like people have been sending us stuff from everywhere, and you
It
know
should be. They definitely should be.
there were models who have claimed to have walked from A-list shows, New York Fashion Week, to other uh, statures of fashion shows, levels, if you would, of fashion shows. And why do one of the reoccurring themes was disrespect? Like, what was the element of disrespect that
Okay.
so many of the models dealt with?
Okay. So this is it. I get emotional a lot because this weekend I've never cried so much in my life. Okay. So number one, I am a
You're
designer.
fine. You're
I'm a
fine. You're
designer
in safe
myself.
company.
So as a designer, I would have pulled my collection at the casting call. Um, I'm 40 years old. Let's start there. I've been in this industry since I was 15. Started off as a
Right.
model, went to a designer, then stylist and creative director. So I have my own brand, my own thing going. My own brand, I would have never allowed my brand to be a part of this production just from the casting. The casting call was disrespectful because the models weren't perfect. There were models that were casting that didn't have the best shape, but they had the best confidence. There were models that hair
Right.
didn't look amazing, but they had a look for whatever they wanted to. You know what I mean? They had their own thing going. And there were side stickers on the mic. There were snide comments on the mic that kind of just like made them feel uncomfortable. And that's just from casting. Then we get them casted, and we're in the presence of them during rehearsals, and he's yelling through the casting about how models aren't needed and how he's the Zeus talent correct or Zeus fashion producer and that he can get models here and there and there and there. Um, just his tone that again with towards designers, that was actually toward designers the same thing. Like we don't need you. They're making designers pay for this and then asking for extra money to cover expenses that should have already been paid for on his end. Like it was just a even his team members. He sat at a dinner. The dinner he talked about on his on your live. He talked about sitting at a table with the devil, looking the devil in the face. It was nothing like that at all. The girl sat down. She put her head down. She had a headache because she was working all day, and he's giving a spill to us about how none of us are actually on his team. How people are lying. That this is how he's talking to the team members that are working with him the night before his show. And he's not even talking to us. He's talking at us while trying to impress the individuals he was there to impress. He's telling us how we're nobodies. We're trying to become somebody off of his neck, and he's telling this girl, "I don't need you. If you have a headache, go home. Get up and leave now." And she storms off from the table, and he's just going off in front of rooms of people that we don't even know, including Mr. Robin Thicke himself. So it's just an embarrassment to
Wow.
her alone, but we're all sitting here like, what do we do? If we say something, then we're on our own merge of being fired. We can't comment. We just have to sit with our head down and accept it and wait for this apology that comes a day or two later.
Wow. So were the models responsible for paying the makeup artist?
No,
Okay, perfect.
No, 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 no.
Because
The makeup
okay,
artists, a lot of the makeup artists, I and one of the girls from Sacramento who was on our team, we reached out to the ASU or AUCs and talked to the schools. But we got them as student volunteers. Those were
got
a
it.
majority of our makeup artists. Winnie did come with his own personal who headed the makeup team. And then we had Paul Mitchell who actually showed up as well to do makeup and hair.
Got it. Okay, so that was perfect. So what was the big delay with the show?
I don't want to be messy, so I will just say that Winnie was busy.
Wow. That was a loaded statement, and we're gonna leave that
I
right.
got. I went to the hotel. I went to the hotel at 5 p.m. with his makeup artist to dress him. That's his job. I packed up his suitcases and got him ready to leave for Baddies the next day. Um, his makeup artist, at that time, he was getting his hair done. His glam team was glamming him at that time. Yeah, Vinny came in, owner of V12. He came in, got his face done, um, and he left to go prepare himself for the red carpet. I left immediately after him to prepare the red carpet for their arrival. Um, ETAs went from 45 minutes to 30 minutes to 10 minutes, back up to 20 minutes to 35 minutes. Vinny showed up himself. We were waiting another 20 minutes. So Winnie was busy.
Got it. So were you? So who was actually responsible for his clothes? Because
Which clothes?
according to him, there was someone on the team. Um, there was a someone that was on the team that was responsible for speaking with MCM to be sure that all of his sizes, what he was wearing, was
I can tell you, I'll stop you there. None of the team members were allowed. We were not allowed to handle MCM. MCM has a rep that we communicated with. B. Lee was the connection from MCM to Winnie, not to the team, but from MCM to Winnie. We, on the day of arrival, we took Winnie, our entire entourage was there. We took Winnie to MCM. Winnie sat in a dressing room. We dressed him, we fitted him, we sized him, we put everything on him inside of that dressing room with actual MCM employees. Once we got done dressing him, we walked him to the back room. We picked the looks for the models. They bagged and tagged and documented the things that they were sitting over for Winnie, and they put them in a bag. We left MCM, and that was our involvement. MCM sent representatives, 4 representatives, to the show to make sure they collected items from the models. That was their job. We were not allowed to handle, touch, deal. We didn't pick their models. We didn't dress their models. We didn't touch their models. MCM was off limits to any part of the team. So for him
oh
to say that we picked his sizes and picked the wrong size, he tried everything on before we walked out that store. I myself helped him. Me.
so how did he get some shoes that was 2 or 3 sizes too
Shoes were
small?
not too they weren't too small. I put the shoes on him at V12 behind the stage in the kitchen. The only
The
reason he did
same.
not wear the same, no, I put them on him the show day at V12. He wore them out of the kitchen and took them back off after. I put the shoes on him. They were tight, but he wore the shoes.
Oh wow. So were these the same shoes that were missing?
It's the only only shoes that left the store for Winnie,
Copy.
along with the
because
jacket.
we did reach out to MCM, and we did get a report because there was allegedly about $16,000 worth of merchandise that were actually missing, and they did say that it actually was maybe about 10,000 at first, and then it was down to like 2,000 or something like that, maybe like 2,500, and which was a bag, a hat, and those boots were actually missing. And we did get a statement from the manager that they were on the way back to the store. So
Okay.
everything,
I have that shipping label myself. I actually have the visual that it's actually on its way back to MCO.
copy, copy. what went so? Because my thing is this: things happen behind stage. I've done 1,000 fashion shows, in over a span of like 2 or 3 decades. Like no lie, and things happen.
Right.
Production things absolutely happen.
Correct.
But I guess what my concern is, or what was just so interesting, is how so much happened amongst the people. Because when we came to the MCM, it was a beautifully,
Amazing.
oh my God.
Like I said, MCM out of the weekend was the highlight for me. It went off exactly as we planned from Sacramento. So we had an office in Sacramento. We planned this all out, and MCM happened exactly as we planned it. Perfect. It was beautiful. The energy was amazing. Everybody was like, it was perfection.
It was. It was great. The energy was
Hell
great.
getting it there, though. For sure, hell getting it there.
Wow. So yeah. Um, so yeah,
Ask me
I'm
openly.
wait.
I'm going to talk openly. Definitely ask me openly. I will answer whatever necessary. I just don't. I'm at the point. I just don't want my team to look like we did anything wrong. I don't want my team to be responsible for anything that happened. We did. If it was not for this team, this production would have not gone forward. I was the face. I spoke to models publicly and privately. I spoke to designers publicly and privately. I had group meetings to where I had to make executive decisions and say, hey, we're not going to sit here from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. in full glam hair, makeup, and sit here in this hot studio with no air, no food, no drinks. And you guys are expected to show up and show out. No, everybody go home, come back here at 3 o'clock and we'll try to regroup. I'm and my team are the ones that have to reach out to his manager because he wasn't answering phones to get food for the models to eat and or drink. Like if there was a point in time where models were separating. I'm done with this. There's models that actually did not show up to show day. There's designers that actually did not show up to show day. Like
Wow.
there's a lot that's being bolstered in him in him getting on live or him getting in public and saying that the Atlanta failed him, the team failed him. That's a negative. Negative. He expected everything to be given to us because of his name. And when it didn't happen, it was a oh well, we'll do without it. And then we had on the back end, we had to learn how to put out the fire or figure out a way to do it or financially figure out ways to get this thing done and get this thing done and get people home or get people in a car or people just it's crazy.
Right. Because that's how, of course, our outlet got involved. Because one day I just woke up to, hey, give me a call. This has been a shit show, and da 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 da. And it was several things, some things that I won't even mention until they surface, that actually happened the night of. And, you know, I received a text message saying, soliciting money for people to get home. And so we reached out to sources that we knew were connected and trying to figure out, was this the truth? Because before we give money, we don't want to be scammed by somebody that was just saying that people were stuck, because of course, like, we don't know, again, we're everything that we look, it looked great, but just to see so many people hurt. I've actually even seen apologies from different people, that, like, and I've just seen so many, messages and text messages where people just like, oh my God, this hurts to hear this, and so on and so forth. I'm like, yo, like, godly, like, this seems devastating
And
almost.
it was. And it almost feels that way. Like at a point, I felt emotionally violated. I felt like and I shouldn't be surprised. And I'm gonna give you why I shouldn't be surprised. I've worked with Winnie now. I worked with Winnie 8 years ago. So 8 years ago I worked with him and some of the similar activities were going on then and I separated myself. So from I hadn't spoken with Winnie for 8 long years until he showed up at a showcase I was doing in Sacramento and asked me
Uh-huh.
to work with him again. And so I jumped back on the bandwagon. Um, But the feeling of disrespect, the feeling of hurt, the feeling of abuse and neglect, they have every single right to feel because again, we were all promised something that wasn't given at all.
Wow. So what were some of the things that were promised that did not happen? That caused such inconvenience?
Well, a lot of the models and designers, number one, didn't know that they were being shuttled from one place to another, 7 minutes away for a show day from this studio fully dressed in a bus to V12 and then back to go get some more designers and bring them over because we couldn't dress or didn't have space to glam or anything at V12. So a lot that was already enough. Um, there was no food or drinks, not even water, until management got there and kind of took control of that because again we had no communication with Winnie most of the time, most of the trip. Um,
So hold up. So you mean to tell me 100 models were being transported in a shuttle to get
yeah, it's
to get to the show?
correct. So it started off
The
as we were going to start off as a sprinter. The sprinters that was the purpose of the sprinters, but when that failed, he purchased a 50-passenger bus.
That is unbelievable. I could not imagine what chaos that was. Were there people left outside because we got word that there were celebrities and everybody just standing at the door and trying to get in, and nobody was able to get in. I mean,
At
well, at least, yeah,
No, V12 was open. There were everybody had access to V12. There were, of course,
okay.
models lined up outside of V12, yes, because they couldn't be seen in the fashion before going into the showcase. But V12 was open. They were open to business, so they had actual individuals that were coming in that were no part of the show at all, sitting down at the table, eating and ordering. And when I it gets great, yeah, it was open for business. So there was waiters on the
Whose
runway.
idea was that?
We all, the team, thought this was so exclusive because of Winnie giving it as such. We thought the restaurant was ours. He told us it was completely ours. It was shut down. There was nothing. We didn't find out about the actual. He can't. Vinny's not closing down a restaurant because he needs to make money because this was a free event for him. Um, we found that out the night before, so we're trying to figure out how to map this runway. Yeah, the night before.
And I can't imagine what the problem was. So just like I told Winnie, the one thing about Atlanta does everything last minute. Everything. Like literally, you will have nobody on your guest list. Like
Yeah,
you will have
yeah,
no
that
tickets
happened.
sold. And literally the last 2 or 3 days, you look into your Eventbrite and 700 people have bought tickets, and you like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, that kind of sort of happened. We had a fair amount of people enjoying themselves, but then we had maybe 10 celebrities that just like, I'm coming with an entourage of 6, 5 out of nowhere. And so now we're trying to build places and make places for them. And we couldn't because, again, there's certain areas that are already booked by patrons that are a part of the restaurant, not a part of the show. So we're just limited to what we can do.
That was unbelievable.
The show
That
was
was
hot. Like the
unbelievable.
energy of the show was hot, but it's just the
It
fact
looked
that
amazing
the looks
online.
can deceive you. Looks can definitely deceive you.
It looked amazing online. And then I didn't make it to the show. Some other people from our team actually did. But of course, I was at the MCM, and that's where you and I first met. And I mean, experiencing the MCM party and then seeing what I saw, I had no reason to believe it was anything other than epic, brother, because y'all did a great job the night before at the MCM. The vibe was right. It just felt like black excellence in the room, you
Sir.
know,
Yes,
and it
yes,
was
sir.
absolutely incredible. I mean, people showed up, and you know what
And
they
that's
say
because of
about
the
us.
team. That's because of the team. I promise you, Winnie would just give us suggestions and the team would make it work. That's it. The team had the
Okay,
connections. The team had the voice. The team had the runaround. Like it was the team.
right. So why is Winnie under the impression? Because according to you, the team did so much. Why is he under the impression that the team let him down?
Because the team's not backing up his foolishness.
Mm,
We were affected. The team was affected. I'm not gonna lie on this podcast and say that we did great. We were awesome. I'm a lot of my team members may have to work with him or may have to deal with him because of their connections. I'm my own brand. I am my own person, and I will not allow anybody to ruin me again. He ruined me before,
got
and I
it.
had to rebuild. I will not let it happen again.
Got
I
it.
myself was assigned as his assistant, and myself, I did a lot above and beyond my title. I was not allowed access to Winnie the entire weekend. He had people that he had with him specifically. I did not know his location to where he even slept at where he slept at his hotel room until the day of the show when I had to dress him. He was at a secret location. Didn't nobody know where he was. We spoke to him when we saw him in public with the rest of the people, and he shipped off with the rest with his two side goats, and that was the end of Winnie. Like we all pay for our own transportation. We all pay for our own food.
Mm,
I paid for all of my shit. And the team pitched together and made sure that the rest of the team was taken care of. As a team, we made sure we were okay and we made sure that our jobs collectively were done, which is the only reason why the show went the way it went.
got it. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to pull in someone else who has an invested interest in this, and we're going to further this conversation. Thank you so much, TaJay. Stay with us, okay?
Definitely.
Hey, what you beat his
Yeah.
ass?
I'm a
Oh
father
my
of a gay
God.
house. So, me being the father of a gay house, I had a lot of children that were around me. And we were in the club scene, the party scene together. And that's how me
And
and
we're also recording, so but you can keep talking, but we're recording. But go ahead.
that's how me and Winston became friends and got in an altercation. I ended up beating him up in the middle of the street at the house party, put him in my car. We all went to go eat. And we've been friends ever since.